Boom, and we are back to BlockDown. The party continues. Listen, Wendy O is working overtime today on BlockDown, and she will be moderating the next panel, which is all female, all beauty, all experienced traders and crypto enthusiasts. Thank you, Wendy, for joining us again for back-to-back sessions here. I'll allow you to take this one away.
Hi, everyone. Wendy O here. Some of you know me as Crypto Wendy O. I do a little bit of everything in the space. And this is actually my idea to host this panel between my two good friends, Lisa and Julia, because you guys are absolutely outstanding female forces. You guys are traders. You guys can keep up with the boys, and we don't have a whole lot of female traders in the space. I am a female trader myself, an investor as well. And it's really just a cool thing for me to be able to host the first ever cryptocurrency female traders panel, and just to have both you lovely ladies on. So we're just going to keep this very relaxed, very low key, and just enjoy each other and learn from each other. I know, Lisa, it's very late where you are.
Very late. No, it's very early. It's 4 a.m.
Very early.
Yeah.
Very early. And then, so let's go ahead and get started. And what I want to do here, I want you both to kind of introduce yourselves, tell me a little bit. Well, I know about you guys, but to the audience, let everybody know who you guys are. So Julia, if you want to go first, and then I'll hand it over to Lisa.
Sure. Really, I'm just a trader. I don't have any. I'm just a trader.
That's it?
Well, I don't know how to. I'm a pretty good trader. I think I'm a good trader, but other people, I don't know.
But you do this professionally, though, correct?
I do. Yes.
Is this where you get majority of your income?
It's where I get all my income
from trading. Mm-hmm. Okay. And do you trade other markets, or do you just do traditional markets or cryptocurrency?
I do traditional markets. I bought Bitcoin a while ago, and I just have let it go. I actually do not trade it because, to tell you the truth, if I looked at the chart, I would have sold it 50 times over by now. But
really,
because it's
yep,
up and to the right. Yeah. So no, I mostly focus on commodity markets and indices.
But I think it's important though, because it all correlates together.
Yes.
Lisa, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay. I've been in the cryptocurrency space since the very beginning, and I've been trading cryptocurrency since around 2012, 2013. So when it kind of became to become a tradable commodity in the space. So before that, I traded, there's my dogs, I traded traditional markets. So I've been trading for over 25 years, so a long time. And
that's awesome.
This is now how I make all of my money. I'm a Twitter influencer, and I'm half of Getting Started in Crypto, where we get people started in crypto. So, so that's pretty exciting. So we've launched that, and we're basically going to be having sort of expert series and trading courses, and we've got signals and so many things sort of coming to get people into the space, and it's really exciting.
So, Julie, I want to ask you, because Lisa does come from traditional financial background of, trading that traditional financial assets first before crypto. I would like to know what kind of, because we don't see a lot of women in traditional finance, especially traders, because it's a very heavy male dominated space, which that's okay. But what made you wake up one day and say, you know what, Mom, Dad, I'm going to trade. I'm going to go head to head with the boys, and I'm going to trade.
You know what? I didn't think of it as a male or female thing at all. I really, I had been managing my IRA and doing really well. I just bought things that I liked. I bought Apple, I bought Netflix, and I was outperforming the market, mostly because I was so heavily concentrated in just a few things that were doing very well. But ultimately, I decided to start trading just because at the time I was in sales and I was traveling all around, and I just wanted to find something where I could stay home and make money that wasn't one of those, terrible things that you get, on the infomercials. Stay home and make X amount per day. I just wanted to find something where I could make money myself without having to travel. And that's really just how I started, is just managing my own IRA and then taking my savings and trying to get profitable from it.
I guess my next question about that is, I was brought up to be kind of savvy with money, but as far as investments go, I wasn't really taught that. And I don't know if that was just like something in my particular household or many other, people that come from my demographic. But what about, managing your own traditional financial investments? How did you get started doing that? And then how did that lead into you becoming, a full-time trader? And then Lisa, I'm going to ask you a similar question as well.
I think it was between jobs where you transfer your IRA over and, it asked to allocate everything. And I was just like, can I control this myself? And I think just having that option to do that sort of spurred me into it. Otherwise, I had just, checked off the boxes, 10% here, 10% here. But I wanted to buy things that I like. And I wanted to buy things that I believe in, and I the funds just kind of didn't do it for me. I wanted to make more, and so that's it.
That's actually going to help me segue into my next question. But Lisa, I want you to kind of talk about what was it that made you decide I'm gonna get into trading. I'm gonna get into investing. Like, tell us that journey for you, because everybody's got a different journey that's very, very unique. And again, we don't really see a whole lot of women that are stay-at-home traders.
Yeah, so I sort of fell into it. So when I was 16, I won a maths competition, and then I was bragging to one of our regular customers that came through KFC, and he sort of took me under his wing and said, "Hey, come on, I'll teach you to trade." So at that point, he taught me to trade. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to do all that stuff, and I did all of that. But that was what has kept me going and kept me afloat, being an actress the whole time. So being able to be self-sufficient with trading and do all of the things that I wanted to do in life. So, it was a means to an end, and it was always something that I had that I could fall back to, that if I wasn't working or if I was at home with my kids or, that sort of stuff, I could do trading, because you can do it anywhere. It's like all you need is a computer or a phone, and away you go.
I actually can resonate with that quite a bit, because I'm a proud stay-at-home mom, and I do trade, I do investing, I do a lot of stuff in the crypto space. But this morning when I was waking up, I woke up extra early today because I had to do the panels and get my show done. But I just am laying in bed with my daughter, and she's holding me, her face to my face, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, if I want to stay in bed an extra 20 minutes and hold my baby, I can. I don't have to answer to anyone but myself. And being able to trade and invest is something that has allowed me to become this stay-at-home mom. It was something that I never thought I would be capable of doing. And trading and investing and crypto has allowed me to do that. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. It seems that there's a synergy between all three of us, that we kind of wanted freedom. We wanted to be financially supporting ourselves and not have to feel pressed that we have to have a 9-to-5. We wanted to travel. We wanted to live the quality of life we deserve, take care of our families. And trading and investing was a great vehicle to do that.
Oh, for sure. Like, I can go anywhere with crypto and trading, and I can be anywhere in the world. And I'm not with COVID, but like normally. And so, I've bounced all around the world. I've been in LA with you, and it's been so amazing. And that's what trading allows. You're not fixed to one position. So you can be, in LA or in London or anywhere in the world, and just, still making money and still earning an income while you're doing everything that you want to do.
Next, I kind of want to touch on your guys' different types of trading and investing style, because some people like to use fundamental analysis when they're analyzing to invest. Other people like to use technical analysis. I know me for myself, I was more of a trader during the crypto bear market, but now I'm becoming more of an investor in the bull market because it's a little bit easier for me to switch markets like this, because if you sell too early, you might not miss that 1,000 times pump. So it's easier for me to just trade in the very beginning, take out a little bit of profit and just watch the thing continue to go up. But in a bear market, you can't do that because we're only getting anywhere between 3 to 20% pumps at times. So it kind of depends. So Julia, if you want to start off and tell us what kind of tactics and techniques you use, maybe for either trading or investing, if it's technical analysis, fundamental analysis, all of that great stuff.
So I am almost completely technical analysis. There's a little bit of psychology that I use just because even if there's not a line on my chart, I mean, I just know from where I used to stop out now where I should get in, so there's a little bit of psychology that goes into my trading, but it is almost 100% technical analysis. And
what are your favorite? Oh, go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I use channel analysis in particular. People sometimes make fun of me because of the number of lines on my charts, but that's because I'm not sharing them for other people. I'm really using them myself. And so I try to label my lines with different little symbols where I can say, hey, it's, this line is resistance or this line is support kind of thing. And also just to remind myself when it gets somewhere scary that's like where I should buy, or when it gets somewhere where I'd usually start being extremely euphoric, that's probably where I should let some go. So I use channel analysis and I use RSI as my main technical indicator, but it's not my only one. It's just the one that I share because it's the easiest, I think, for people to understand.
Yes, and the traditional markets tend to move a little bit slower than cryptocurrency. From me taking a look at the chart, I'm not too big of a traditional finance trader, but realistically, at the end of the day, whatever you're putting on the chart, it's really notes for you. And I like the fact that you're able to use psychology to kind of say, hey, this is the danger zone. This is where I need to buy. Or, hey, this is probably where I should sell. Because a lot of people just, they put out these really nice charts on the internet, on Twitter, but that's not all that goes into it. There's psychology that goes into it. Like you said, a trading journal, you're supposed to write down your emotions, how you're feeling. Did you eat that day? Are you tired? Is your kid screaming in the other room? Different things like that, because and you're hungry, that all of that impacts your trading. And the fact that you have all of those additional informations there, and people might make fun. Well, they're probably making fun because for different reasons, which we'll talk about later. But everybody trades differently, and everybody makes money. And obviously, you're doing this professionally, so you know what you're doing. Lisa, do you want to go ahead and talk to us a little bit about your strategy? Maybe because I know that you do switch from different markets at times. Maybe you want to talk about your strategy in crypto, and then talk about your strategy in traditional markets.
Yeah, so I don't trade traditional markets at all anymore.
Okay.
I look at them I'll look at the S&P and I'll look at the indexes to just get an overall view of where those markets are going. But yeah, no, I'm 100% crypto. And so I love altcoins because they move so much and you don't need leverage. And, that's the beauty of altcoins. Just finding those supports and those resistances. But yeah, so I use Elliott Wave and Fibonacci, and I've got a specific way that I've sort of joined those, and it's kind of called Lisanacci. And so they get my levels and my sell points that we get through on the charts that people see. And because crypto moves in a really specific way, and it's a lot different to what a traditional market does move, and it's a lot faster to what a traditional market does move. So traditional people that do trade traditional markets come into crypto and they're like, oh my God, what the hell just happened there? So, and because we've got, obviously whales in this space that take out stop losses. They know where the stop losses are. And, it's quite difficult to sort of come in from that traditional market and just go, well, I'm going to trade this now. This moves really fast. And so that's the issue where we see people coming into the crypto market from the traditionals.
Can I ask a question? I'm not a huge crypto trader, but how if Bitcoin and the rest of the altcoins are decentralized, how do they know where the stop losses are? Are they somehow paying for data from one of the brokers, or how do they know that? Or is it?
You kind of know because of, like you were saying, market psychology. So if you've got a support or a resistance, so you've got a support region, we know that a lot of traders are sort of from the traditional market. They will have their stop losses sitting underneath that channel. So the wick will go down through the channel and then bounce straight back up.
Fakey breaky. I got you.
Yeah.
I got it.
Also too, because a lot of every cryptocurrency project utilizes blockchain technology. You can see on some blockchains like how much is being moved. There's an account on Twitter called Whale Alerts, and it tells you like there's 50,000 Bitcoin moved from Coinbase, or there's 200 million USDT from Binance, stuff like that. So you're able to see, and if you're able to follow those, and then there's also the funding rates and different things like that on some of the leverage exchanges. So you can kind of analyze and aggregate some of the. I'm not capable of doing that because I'm not the most tech savvy person, but there's people who are able to aggregate that data, create bots and put it out there. And then people that have, that do have some sort of size, trade with some size, they are able to kind of pay attention to what happens. And as a trader, sometimes it actually can be helpful because you're like, oh, this much money is leaving this exchange and going here. I should pay attention to the volume that's happening. And I should also track this wallet and see what are they doing? Because if you track some of the largest wallets, sometimes it'll help give you an edge. And that's a great thing about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and altcoins, is because we have blockchain for that. With traditional markets, I don't necessarily know how you would track that sort of movement.
With traditional, you need to track the liquidity sort of moving in and out. So with cryptocurrency, we've got sites like Crypto Quant where you can see where the movements are going and that sort of thing. So, it is an advantage in those sort of regions to know, what if it's a whale, if it's an OTC, or if it's just liquidity coming into the market.
We're going to get Julia converted to be a full-time crypto trader after this talk.
She is. She's looking like she wants to. There's so much money in this market.
I haven't shared my charts because I'm a little afraid.
You know what? This actually brings us to our next topic about some of the struggles that we go through working in a male-dominated floor. So no hate to the men. I love you all. Men are absolutely amazing. Love y'all. Y'all are my favorite dessert. But we got some problems. Got some problems in the space because a woman will post a chart and all the boys will come through and they got something to say about it. And then the call ends up being right. We post our profit or loss or whatever it is, and they get mad. So I don't know if that's like that in traditional markets, Julia, but it kind of sounds like you endure that too, is you'll post a chart and people have a whole lot to say about it. But at the end of the day, it's whatever your strike rate is your strike rate. And then they either shut up or they troll you hard. So if you want to kind of talk about some of the struggles that you face in that regards.
So I am actually super lucky because I don't know how it happened, but I somehow attracted some of the smartest people on Twitter and the most supportive people on Twitter to follow me. And I followed them, or I tried to follow them all back. But I haven't gotten trolled in quite a while. I mean, people try, but then they look ridiculous. So, sorry, my dogs they're coming in. I don't know if you can hear that. No.
That's okay. Lisa, that's okay. Lisa, do you want to kind of talk to us a little bit about some of the stuff you go through as well? Because it sounds similar, because I got a very similar story to Julia. I got the people that hate, that like to post different things, and it's just, it can be a little bit deterring at some points.
I think you've just got to block out that sort of, block out the hate, block out all the noise, and just focus on what you're doing. So none of that makes any difference to what you're doing. And so it's more about just sort of getting on with, following your calls and following your signals and, sort of believing in yourself more so, because that's what's going to get you the trade. So trusting in your abilities and sort of moving forward. And if somebody says something, it's like I always reply and say, this is what I see, because I can only tell you from my perspective. And,
Right.
if it's wrong, I have a stop loss. So that's kind of how I explain it.
No, that's a good way to do it. And I think that a lot of people, they'll see something on the internet, they'll see a chart, and they feel that they need to be the reply guy, and they feel that they need to come in and, make a comment, even though they have no idea what they're talking about. They're not working alongside you. The beautiful thing about trading is that it is kind of an intimate thing, because we're kind of challenging ourselves and challenging our mind, because it's not just, okay, I'm going to draw these beautiful lines on this chart and see where price is going to go. You're using psychology, you're using emotions, you're using your gut, you're using your integrity, and you're also you're challenging some internal things, because sometimes, especially with Bitcoin, when I'm interested in getting into a Bitcoin trade, I'll see the chart looks really bullish, technical analysis looks great, but my heart is like, you know what? Something's not right. And it ends up being that my gut turns out correctly. And I think as women, we are a little bit more intuitive than men in some aspects. And that's okay, because we're all different. We all work differently. But what are some of the things that both of you ladies like to do to kind of get your emotions in check at times? Because trading is very emotional. It's emotional for men and women. If Julia wants to go first, and then I'll ask Lisa the same question.
You heard my dogs in the background.
Yes, that's a distraction as well.
Yes.
Your fur babies.
Yeah, my babies. But whenever I am getting too emotional and I just start hitting the buttons without thinking or not following my plan, I just stop. And I just try to take a break, and I go for a walk on the beach, or I just try to focus on something else, because there's always more trades to be had. So I just try to completely go offline and not listen to anybody else. I mean, that's where my trouble comes in, is sometimes if I listen to too many people, or if I have somebody in my ear, then I can't be myself. And I think being myself is my personal edge. So, or just believing in myself and believing in my ability to succeed. So I just try to get away from it all. I just go offline and just focus on what's important to me.
I'm actually the same way. Before I'm interested in entering into a trade, I don't like to go on Twitter at all. I don't want to see what anybody else is doing. I want to just to chart all my stuff down. If I have a question, if I'm not feeling 100% certain, I'll message Lisa, and there's maybe like 2 or 3 other people. No, I'm being dead serious. Sometimes I'll message Lisa out of nowhere. I'm like, duh. She's like, it's okay, calm down. What can I help? Like, what? But Lisa's one of the people that I reach out to, and I'm like, hey, can you just look at this for me? What are your thoughts? Because I feel like my stop is too high, or I feel like this is going to happen, but I don't want to miss out. And then there's maybe like 2 or 3 other guys that I'm really close with that I'll message them, be like, hey, and it's always done privately, because that's my business. It's my financial business, and I do post public charts. I do post public calls. There's things that I do share publicly, but at the same time, like, I don't listen to all the noise on the internet, because that's just not me. I'd rather just focus and be in tune with myself, because that's what works for me. And then Lisa, if you kind of want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so there's absolutely no trading in emotion or emotions like in trading, nothing. So you cannot have any emotions. It needs to be it's a transaction. So you're going in, you're buying the Big Mac, you're going out and you're eating it, and that's it. So it's like, you've got to think of it as that sort of financial transaction. I go in, I buy Bitcoin, I make some money, and that's good. And if I'm not, if I get that trade wrong, it hits my stop and I look for the next trade. And it's like, it's the mentality that and the focus, there's always another trade. So I see, I'm on Twitter and I go, oh, wow, doggy coin's gone 260%. I don't jump in that trade, because I know tomorrow there's going to be another trade, and it's going to go 100% in whatever coin. So, I sit and I have patience. So patience is the number one thing that we need to learn in cryptocurrency, to not FOMO, because it's all so exciting when all these, we've got all these green waves, and it's like, I just want to jump in. And yeah, so it's the hardest thing is sitting on the sidelines and watching, certain coins sort of, moon, as we say, and not getting too excited and jumping in halfway, and then it, all of a sudden retraces just as much as it did, rise up. So yeah, it's 90% patience for me, and then it's just a transaction, and I have no emotions to that. I save all of that to my relationship. So
Julia, so how do you deal with FOMO? Because I'm sure that especially we had that Wall Street bets thing that happened where everybody was going absolutely bonkers. People were foaming into GameStop and whatever the heck else. And I'm just like, oh my God, you guys are going to get absolutely wrecked. We do not chase green candles. We chase red candles. We work off of support. We work off multiple supports sometimes. So how do you avoid FOMOing? FOMO, because if you FOMO, you could, we talk about this, there's always going to be other buses, but if you FOMO, you can lose a lot of money. You can lose your whole trading stack. And that's happened to me once or twice, is because I remember that trade, and I messaged Lisa. I'm like, I lost 70% of my trading stack. But how do you avoid the FOMO?
I can't avoid it. So what I'll do is I'll buy like one share of something, or just like one little contract, just to watch it fall, and then say to myself, well, I freaking knew it. But that's how I do it, is just via scaling. If I really am itching to get into something, then I almost know for certain it's going to go down. But I can't bring myself to short it. So what I'll do is I'll just buy just the tiniest piece of it, and then I'll put in a plan to buy more when it hits this level below it. Or let's say it keeps on going higher, and then I feel like, wow, I didn't miss that. Wow. But I'll know when it comes back down where I should be buying it. So I'll make that part of my plan. I have to incorporate it because I'm not capable of not doing it.
Would you classify that as a strength or weakness about your trading style?
Oh, that's good. Well, you know what it is? It's compensation.
Okay.
It's compensating for how I am. It's not trying to change myself. It's knowing just my nature. And I'm not going to call it a weakness, because I think it's human nature. But it's just knowing that about myself, that I will just foam at the mouth if I cannot buy. I'll just be really upset. So I just have to have it. And so I'll just make sure I have like a small piece that won't kill me if it goes down. And then I'll have a plan to buy it when it does go down.
And I'm actually similar in that sense. And one of the things I do, one of the best strategies that I've used for myself, is when I start getting the FOMO, I will take 10% of my stack or 5% of my stack, I'll market buy. And I do the same thing. And the reason why I do that is because it quenches that thirst that you have of the FOMO that I've got to get in. And I'll do that. And if I lose it, it's like, okay, but then what I'll also do is I'll also scale, and I'll set multiple bids all the way down to stink bids. And if they get hit, great. If they don't get hit, that's fine. And, sometimes it works out, but I like the way that you said it's more of sort of compensation, because changing who we are as people is very hard. It's very hard, and I don't necessarily know if it's going to work out if you just do that at work and not bring it in the home life. So I think that that's a good strategy that you use. And I like that. And I tell people, on my different social medias, of TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, I'm like, just buy it. If you got to, just FOMO in and buy that 10% and then see what happens, but practice risk management on the rest of it. Well, what are your thoughts, Lisa?
I'm going to go and slap both of you.
Oh, no.
So because patience is the number one thing in trading. So I can see both of your faces, and you're not on camera.
We're like,
yeah. But yeah, so, I've got a strict rule that I set a buy zone, and I buy within that zone, and I ladder into that trade. And, sometimes if it's super bullish, all of those ladders won't get hit. But yeah, so it's always a game of patience, and that's how you win the game.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think, being patience is very hard. I struggle with that because I'm impulsive.
Yeah, me too.
I'm impulsive too in life, and I get in trouble, and it's like, in all other areas, and I'm driving my business partner completely crazy at the moment by doing all these things, and he's like, Lisa, can you just wait? And I'm like, no. And then, but in trading, I'm fine.
That's good.
That's good. I do drive my business partner probably absolutely nuts half the time, but it happens. We have about 7 minutes left, and I think that it's a good way to kind of end this talk with what advice would you guys give women that are maybe listening to this or that? Because I remember before I got into crypto, I was working healthcare. I was working 4 10-hour shifts a week. I was commuting 3 hours round trip. I was a brand new mom. I was breastfeeding at the time, and I had to go to work. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I miss my baby. I want to be home with my family. I want to be a mom. And I want to be able to still make money because we weren't at that place yet to where things were, were super financially stable. And I just kept praying and praying on it. And I'm just like, what am I going to do? So I remember I walked into a TD Ameritrade. I was like, can I invest here? They're like, yeah, $25,000. I was like, I don't have $25,000. What the heck am I going to do? But then I ended up stumbling across crypto. I taught myself a trade. It was the best feeling ever. But I know that there's a lot of people, and I even have friends, female, male friends, they have reservations. They're like, I can't do this. You're too smart. I'm like, no, it's not about being smart. It's just really kind of looking and analyzing your emotions and analyzing areas of importance. That's really all it is. And just knowing, using your gut. So what advice do you ladies have for people that want to become traders or want to become investors or kind of get their feet wet? Like, where do they start? What kind of motivated you guys to start? And just, I guess, something encouraging for both men and women, just to let them know that, hey, you got to start somewhere. There's going to be a lot of losses. There's going to be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But if you keep trying, paper trading, whatever it is, what advice do you guys have? If Julia wants to go first, and I'll have Lisa close us out.
Sure. Well, I mean, there aren't a lot of women traders that I can see on Twitter, but that are super active and that post trades and that really get out there and post charts. But there are actually a lot of women that are sort of remain, I think, underneath the fray of all of the talk because they ask me questions. And so, I mean, first of all, I would just say that trading is very hard and most people don't succeed. And I had an overabundance of confidence when I started that wasn't warranted because I didn't deserve to have given myself that yet. But I would say that starting out is the key the key to being successful would be starting out very, very small and teaching yourself, not necessarily with a paper account, because I think it's completely different when you're psychologically into it. But, again, taking 10% of your stack and then trying to be successful on that, having a business plan, knowing how much you'll need to make per month with your entire amount, and then starting with that 10% and trying to just get there in terms of percentages. And for in diversity in particular, I mean, I think that our brains are wired a little bit differently from most men, and I think that women in particular, sometimes we don't post things, or people don't post things because they're afraid to be wrong and they're afraid to get trolled or what have you. But I would just say that if you have a track record that you can see and because you've traded it, there's absolutely no reason to back down when people come at you, and there's no reason to be afraid. I mean, you're really here for yourself. I'm only trading for myself, and I'm only sharing things because it actually does help me, because sometimes when I share things, I'm not as careless as I would be if I hadn't shared them. So I only try to post high probability things. But anyway, that's what I would say.
Lisa, what about you? What would you say to somebody who's kind of like in a spot where they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do the 9 to 5. I want to be home with my family, or I want to, have a better quality of life? Because your story is very, very incredible and very inspiring. But what would you tell somebody about, how to take the plunge, like where to get started, what to do?
Okay, so what you actually have to do is actually start. So that's the first step. It's like, stop talking about it and just do it. So so it's all about just taking that first step, making even if you're still in your job and you want to sort of allocate sort of 1 hour every day to actively learning about how to trade. Spend some time. There's so much information on the internet. There's so much information on YouTube, on Twitter. Ask people questions. Get out there and, there's so many amazing traders on Twitter. Just, sit there, ask some questions, how do I do this? What is that? Why did you do this? That sort of stuff. And, majority of the time, those people that are there, I know you spend a lot of time on Twitter, Wendy, and, so do I. So just answering questions and helping people and letting them know what the indicators are. And then, telling them to go and Google it. It's like jump on YouTube, go and Google it, go on Investopedia, find out what all the terms are that we're talking about, and then, put that all together and create your own strategy. And it's all about finding what works for you. And, no one will trade the same. So I don't trade the same as Wendy, and I don't trade the same as a lot of the male traders either. So I use, all different indicators. And, it is all about finding what works best for you and what you feel comfortable with, and then moving forward with that. But, I've got a rule that if you can't trade with a small amount, you can't trade with a large amount. So it's all about sort of risk management and sort of moving forward with that. And but it is about just getting started.
No, I agree with that. And if you're watching this and you're like interested in taking the plunge, but you don't know where to start, like Lisa said, and like what Julia said, there's a lot of free resources on the internet. You don't even have to go like sign up for whatever it is. But like Investopedia is 100% free, and they have both, they talk about, basic indicators like volume, support and resistance, baby pips. If I remember correctly, it is free. They've got different, to create a trading view account. It's free. You can create a trading view account. It is free. You can start, you're limited to some indicators. CoinTrader Pro is free, but you can start drawing lines. You can start drawing support and resistance, and you can also check your work. Julie, are you on TradingView? Do you post your work there as well?
So I have a link where people can sign up for TradingView, and then what I plan to do is share some of my charts exclusively with the people who signed up using that link. But and my YouTube channel is free too.
See, you guys. And then Lisa, I know, are you on TradingView, right, Lisa?
Yeah, so I'm on TradingView. So Lisa and Edwards on TradingView, and then you can learn to trade for free on 1000tomillions.com. So it will teach you how to use support and resistance, how to use cross support, how to enter a trade, how to use OCO, and how to make 3% and compound it from 1,000 to 1 million. So, and that's all free. And then if you want my signals, they're on gettingstartedincrypto.com.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me. I appreciate both of your time, and we got to do this again. Next time we'll do it on my channel, though.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.